Back here at the HOT6ix CUP with the HOT6ix CUP. And starting to the top right on Frost, we have our Protoss play with the 1-0 lead in the best of 5 series. It is
Soldier.
Soldier, pile in the middle in the main base. And one of those Zoe mice. He has it in blue, parting head is in pink. And of course, starting to the top left of the map. Don't leave me hanging there, production. We have the Zerg player.
Galaxican Ro8.
In blue. Oh yeah.
Okay, that is a 10 pool. And this is kind of, again, the rock, paper, scissors of 4-player maps. Does he catch Deer being too greedy, like a Nexus into Gateway type play?
And also, does he get the Scout of immediately? You know, at this point, he has the Overlord starting to the bottom left, so he will have the Zerglings going into the middle of the map first. There is no drone scout just yet. He actually squeezes out 2 additional drones.
All right. Let's see, man. All I'm interested in right now is watching exactly what Deer does with this build order. Because if he just goes Nexus Gateway or something like that, it could get really, really rough. There they are again.
Handsome as always. Well, the drone scout actually goes out, and he has 6 Zerglings. You know, with all the drones that he has right now, he's on 12 drones, so he can easily just fall back, attack with a couple of Zerglings, get his own economy up back at home. It's by no means just an absolute all-in where you gamble everything on just one attack and then you have no follow-up option. He needs to do damage with this, and he needs to do something, but he can always just get this additional base back at home, and that's what he is, in my opinion, going to do.
All right, so it is going to be a Forge, and I think that this is going to result in a Nexus cancel. He's not going to be able to wall this in time. I don't think he's... Yeah, because that pylon on the natural is really quite late. And even if that was done and he threw up buildings right now, 8 Zerglings total are going to be able to break through the buildings before he's ready.
Even more than 8. He committed 2 more, and that's the expansion as already expected. With 12 Harvesters, you want to go for economy. And he has already the drone in the main base. He sees exactly what's coming. He's ignoring the Nexus for now because he wants to cancel the cannon.
Well, he's hiding a probe down there as well. What he wants to do is sneak in a cannon. If he can sneak in a cannon, the game will basically be his. But... See, Ro8 is actually too smart for that. He knows that Protoss is trying to do this.
Oh, but nice round here with the probes. He's doing a good job at repelling the Zerglings, and that was a huge blow to Ro8. That could have been so much better.
You know what? And with the probes coming down, it's a good thing he did make these extra Zerglings because he failed on the control in that main base. He needs to get rid of this cannon, and he does.
Yeah, but he starts it again, and to be honest, I mean, the Lings, they are absolutely nice and all, but he's losing all of them. And the micro of Deer is just excellent.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job. These Zerglings are really, really soft right now. Oh my god. Ooh! Oh, some really lackluster control, I have to say, from Ro8.
That should have done a lot more damage.
Yeah, he killed 7 miners.
But think about what we have now. 2 bases against, well, the hatch is not done just yet, so with the Chrono Boost, we will see the Harvester number increase really fast for Deer. And if you think about what kind of opening he got, he should have been able to do a lot more damage. Yeah. The problem really was that a lot of his Zerglings in the main base were surrounded.
That's exactly it. You know what? He overcommitted up there. You have to be careful about that. That's actually what Protoss wants. That's why they always hide a probe to try to sneak in a cannon. Because if they can kill some of those Lings, they can bring the probes out, and they can micro around and maybe get a cannon up.
I think what happened there was that he was microing the Zerglings, the reinforcements, just grouping them up, building them into the control group, and having a quick look what the Zerglings scouted at the natural. So, because he moved onto the cannon, and then we jumped into the main base and saw the surround. So I feel that he was busy just directing the Zerglings, making sure that the cannon doesn't go up, because he thought probably the same thing that you did. If you hide a probe there, if you sneak a cannon in, then I'm in a bad spot, so I have to make sure that that doesn't happen. And then he neglected the control in the main base, and suddenly he found himself surrounded.
Well, you know what? He's got some more Zerglings out here now. He is trying to continue to do some harassment, and he's costing some lost mining time here for Deer.
He's definitely not out of the game yet.
Oh, no, certainly.
And that's thanks to the opening that he had with the 12 Harvesters and the hatch behind it.
You know, you got to look at this and say, the tech is quite late for Deer. And with a Roach Warren on the way, it looks like we're going to have an all-in coming from Ro8.
I mean, that's a super layer at 790 that we see here. And even with the economy and the base that you have, that's a big problem that he is facing now. And that's thanks to all the cancels that we saw. So right now, Ro8 can definitely try to make a timing work.
Yeah, the lateness of the Cybernetics core is what he's banking on here with these 5 roaches that are being produced. Will he be able to actually break through, though? Because normally, something like this doesn't work out all that well. We'll have to see what units is he making. Okay, he's getting a Sentry. When is he going to get that Mothership Core? That's going to be something that's important. Does he get any Stalkers out that he can micro with?
Third base also coming up for Ro, so he wants to poke again, and the probe moving in. Oh, and the probe is just going to miss those roaches. Oh.
Yeah, that's actually, if he just barely misses the roaches,
wow.
Yeah, he's going to see him at the watchtower is how he's going to see him. But you know what? It's only 5 roaches. It looks like these are probably meant to force some additional cannons and maybe pick off pieces of the wall.
Yep.
Not a bad choice.
You know, if he can snipe a pylon or two, or maybe even the gateway that we have at the front, that would be great for him. With 5 roaches, not really all that likely. But the double cannon is there now, and he could do some damage. While he gets the third base up, so he's distracting here. He's keeping him busy.
Yeah, it's kind of a different style. We haven't seen anything like this too much recently. But with that Mothership Core out, this is part of the reason why we don't see things like this too recently. Like, is getting a Roach Horn making 5 roaches worth it to kill a gateway? Is that like a new strat?
Well, he forced 1 cannon. The other one got cancelled. I don't know, not really worth it now as long as it doesn't lose the roaches. It's kind of alright, since if we have like counter aggression now with a couple of zealots, you know, trying to sneak into the mineral line at the third, he has a bit of a force that can be mobile enough to defend the 3 bases.
Well, right now we actually have the Robo coming up as well as 3 more gateways and that +1 attack. He's got his 3 sentries out already. So now it's up to Deer to decide, does he want to try to take a third base, or is he going to go and try to punish Ro8 for the slowness of his economy?
And talking about punishing him, the slowness in economy also results in him having a bit of a delayed tech. He's starting his +1/+1 now, but we do not have a tech into Lair at the 10-minute mark, so we are not going to see speed for the roaches for quite some time. And that gives Deer definitely wiggle room with this micro, given all the gateways that he already has. That's going to be really tricky. And we have Immortals, we have gateways, the Twilight Councils coming in. So Deer is just manning up right now.
Yeah, you know what? He's going to have a lot of units out here. The Mothership Core kind of controlling this center watchtower. It's interesting that he's being like so safe about this. See, he's getting all these gateways, he's making the Immortals, he's getting the +2 and the blink. He's not screwing around. He's going for value in his army, something that he can actually micro around and like enforce his will with.
We have that Baneling Nest again that can really help against gateway units. The problem really being that without Ultralisk, force fields are gonna be a pain to deal with. And we have the sentry count here for for Deer. So the 1-1 is probably gonna hit. That will make it a little bit tougher for the Zealots to actually deal with all those links. And the link force here is great for a flank or even for an attempted run by that keeps the Protoss player busy, and he needs to buy time.
Kind of interesting as well, we do have Burrow on the way, so we'll see how he actually utilizes that. Sometimes people do move out before the Observer, and something like a Baneling Landmine can just end the game.
Oh, we have the probe at the third base now, so he has the minerals, goes for that third apparently, not moving out. Has a pretty strong army, so it would be very surprising if Ro8 could do like a lot of damage here. Nice block here, Immortal at the front.
Yeah, he's thick enough to hold that, and well, the Zerglings continue to attack into it, but against 2 cannons and Immortal and obviously units nearby to come back and help, wasn't ever really going to break through there.
Pylons at the bottom left, by the way, so that can be used for additional Zealots to run into the third base. Exactly what we're most likely going to see a little bit later down the road. For now, we have the creep being spread quite well for Ro8, a bit of an early warning system. He can't rely on Overlords anymore, and he was never really able to hold that Zalnaga Watchtower. That was always Deer's domain, especially with the Mothership Core. So right now, both of them actually gearing up quite well on the third base, looking very strong for Deer. Ro8 with the attempted run by, but he needs those units. He goes for the flank here, maybe even able to take down the Warband Pylon.
Yeah, if he can get the Pylon, that's really nice. In fact, looks like he's going to catch a few units here. Perhaps get this Immortal, maybe a couple Stalkers, but with Blink, doesn't look quite as likely. I don't know that his army is... Well, you know what? He's got 14 Hydras on the way, so I take it back. His army's fine. I don't think he's going to die to this.
I do not think that he has detection with his army. I didn't see an Observer, and he saw... I'm curious why we don't see an Observer building, to be honest, because he saw the Burrow, or he should have seen it. One of the roaches were right in front of his army.
Yeah,
so
I think he just wasn't looking at the time.
Probably. I feel he would have built at least one Observer. He needs detection here, and that's something he's going to find out very soon.
Well, you know what? This army is very powerful. Does force field quite well. The Zerglings come in for the flank, making Blink a little bit more obsolete, but That is a lot of force fields.
Mothership Core a little bit exposed here. The double time bomb is already down, but the MSC is gone now. And so many Hydralists actually in a bit of a predicament here, walking through the time bomb, being sniped by the Stalkers. But the numbers are still pretty decent for the Zerg player. The reinforcements are going to come in just a second, and the Hydras with a lot of DPS. The Queen's helping out, using the energy for transfuses too.
And this attack looks like it's just about done. These Hydras, I would say, should be able to hold this off, especially with all the Zerglings that are about to come out. And here they do start to rally as well. But that's some very nice micro from Deer.
Yeah, definitely. The blink micro from him is great, keeping those Stalkers alive for as long as possible. But now he finds himself fighting on creep, needs another round of warp, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. Blinking away with the Stalkers, trying to utilize blink as much as he can. And the Hydras, well, they still have the better numbers here, and they should be able to clean it up. The Zergling's not closing the distance, though. That would give him even more firepower against it.
Now the supply is 76 to 125. Sure, Deer has his third base, but he's not mining gas. He doesn't really have any defenses here. He has no sentries left, and I think that's the biggest problem. Ro8 is just going to roll him over now.
Yeah, the third base is absolutely exposed, and as you have been saying earlier, this is the map that Ro8 has to win. If he's down 0-2 in the series, I don't think he can recover, but it's looking really good for him. Only 17 army supply for Deer, and that early pull really messed with him, even though his defense was pretty good.
So that was a nice victory there by Ro8. You know, the early pull was not even executed as well as it could have possibly been, but he did enough damage. He went for the right strategy afterwards and did a good job. But Deer showed that his execution is scary as can be.
Yeah, that fight in the end, I mean, that was very, very close. And that was one of the things where Ro8 was definitely struggling a little bit. But his follow-up, I really like the follow-up with the 10th pull, you know, that he went for the 12 drones, that he didn't cut too many corners, that he said, yep, I'm going to do damage, I'm going to try to do as much as possible here, but I don't want to try to end the game with this. I'm going to follow it up with an expansion. My economy will be fine as long as I take down enough harvesters.
You know, the one thing that kind of scares me is he caught Deer kind of in that rock, paper, scissors of build orders, right? And still Deer almost broke through in a situation. I looked at the two armies, I'm like, you're not going to break through here. And he came kind of close at moments. So that makes me a little bit fearful for Ro8 going into these other maps that are going to be probably more normal for the games.
It's definitely going to be very hard for him to win it. I feel in the games that we saw so far, you could really see the potential for Deer, but also Ro8 showing his skills. And it lives up a bit to the expectations that we had coming from the banter that we had before the game started. Before we go to see the third game, on the other hand, we are jumping into another commercial break, so guys, stay tuned, and then we'll be back in just a few minutes with the third game between Deer and Ro8 here at the HOT6ix CUP.